What up, y'all? Paddle Schemes, episode 2. Today we're talking about Tesla as a Pokemon. Sort of a poetic metaphor for Tesla. You know, what is the value? Why be invested in Tesla here? 700 or 800 billion. What is the company really doing? It's so hard to understand. One of the most talked about companies on the planet. You know, what is the valuation? So, for those who don't know, Tesla's my largest holding still. Has been for like 10, 12 years now. And I've been buying some as recently as, you know, a couple weeks ago. And I kind of wanted to break down, you know, the stock has been ripping, which is awesome, but don't get too excited. Could crash at any moment. I'm not cashing out yet. I'm hoping for the long term. Could be a lot of bumps still, so keep that in mind. But it's just awesome. The stock's ripping, and Elon, having Elon's comp package secured is just such an important thing. And it looks like with the shareholder votes that passed, shout out to everyone who voted. That's huge news. That just, you know, it's time to think about master plan part 4. What's the next phase of this company? How does Tesla go to becoming the biggest company in the world? And I thought it'd be a good time to scheme. You know, I'm on the lake, just we'll explore a little, don't worry. Just vibing with paddle scheming. And I was like, okay, I want to try and break down this analogy. Tesla's a Pokemon. So let's start with one of the first skills they came up with. Essentially a battery pack that could go 300 miles of range. So Tesla, when I think of every company as a Pokemon, it starts with, you could be like, oh, Tesla, let's compare it to Ford, or let's compare it to Apple, let's compare it to, you know, blah, blah, blah. And part of my theory with every company as a Pokemon is every company is very unique. And you have to look at what skills it has, what it does in-house, what it doesn't do in-house, what it's good at, what actually sets it apart, how nimble is it, and you really got to understand it. And every company is very unique and different, is what I've come to realize. So Tesla to me is such an interesting organization because you have this battery technology, which is the backbone of a new type of movement for everything in the economy, from boats to cars to planes to anything. Basically anything that moves has been with oil for hundreds of years, or 100 years or whatever. Now we're moving into the electric age. Tesla's extremely efficient at building this electric car that's super fast, that's super fun, that's super energy efficient. An insanely energy efficient thing that can get you from A to B for cheap. And they're gonna unlock a new way to monetize the technology they've been working on, which is this cheap electric car. And now they're like, okay, well, we've figured out a way to build these electric cars super cheap, super efficiently. How do we get everybody in them ASAP? How about we launch a ride-sharing network, the Cybercab? So now this is Tesla continuing to monetize and maximize the value of their electric drivetrain and battery technology through cheaper form factors. And that's going to be the Cybercab, this thing that's even cheaper to build, that's even simpler, that can get you from point A to B even faster and smoother and simpler and cheaper and safer. So, and that's just a culmination of so many years of technology. So back to Tesla's evaluation. 800 billion seems like a lot, especially in the context that car makers are only valued at 50 billion usually, or 1 times price sales. Maybe even less. But Tesla's building so much more than a car maker because they're not just the Ford and GM. They're the gas station, which is the Chevron, the Shell. They're the Saudi Aramco. They're the oil company because they're the Megapack and the solar panels. So when you think about what Tesla's doing, they're disrupting a transportation stack that is trillions of market cap. Saudi Aramco, the oil company, is worth trillions. And that's what Tesla's energy division is doing. It's stabilizing the grid with a new type of energy, which is now actually becoming a huge business. We'll get to that in a sec. But the whole point is, when you think about why Tesla's car business could be worth so many hundreds of billions when no car business has been in the past, it's because A, they're going to get so much more usage out of their cars with this ride-sharing network and self-driving. So software is going to provide so much more usage, so much more ROI, so much more cash flow on that same asset. So they're going to have a much higher value business just from the vehicle business. Now, we own supercharging. Rivian's already signing on to that, so is every other automaker. You own the gas station. That's hundreds of billions of market cap right there. Then you're talking about what Megapack can do on the energy side, and you own potentially the utility, the oil refinery, all those businesses as well. But let's just get to the point and say Tesla's eating a market cap of, you know, trillion or 2 in revenue. They're at 100 billion now, and they're moving quickly to capture more of it. So that's why in the scope of their vehicle opportunity, I think a seaplane's about to take off. I'm gonna get a sip. I hope this has been making sense. Also, shout out, I got the Cybervessel, which is dope from the Tesla website. My point is, I think Tesla can squeeze out, 20 to 30 billion in the auto business of earnings. Maybe a lot more with robotaxi really takes off and the semi-truck really takes off. So all of a sudden there, you're already justifying the value of the company. But they've got to grow into that. So why still hold on and be bullish at this price of 800 billion? Because I'm assuming, 20 times 30 billion is 900 billion. It's basically trading at 30 times 30 billion. So the market's saying you're going to get to 30 billion. If you can get to more than 30 billion in intrinsic earnings power, this is an insanely strong buy. Why do I think that could happen? A, robotaxi. Ride sharing takes off, that insanely boosts margins. That could take earnings to 50 to 100 billion. And when you think about Tesla as a Pokemon, why are they in such a unique position? They have 1 million cars on the road, which are basically their own robots collecting data. They also have the world's best software team and cameras on those vehicles, and all the compute necessary to be running all the training on these millions of cars. So nobody else has millions of cars. Almost no one else has compute. Tesla's been doing this the longest. They have the data flywheel and advantage. That is part of their Pokemon. If you want to copy them, you got to get millions of cars on the road. You got to figure out how to do your own neural net. You got to get your own chips. No one can compete with that. If anything, people are going to license Tesla's FSD, and that could be an insane shoe to drop. But once again, that all comes back to Tesla's a Pokemon, developing this FSD technology for years, putting the chips in the cars, making them better every single year, investing in these new self-driving chips, which now they can use in the robot, because once again, Pokemon, this in-house way of the car needs to be a computer, all of a sudden comes in super handy because robots need computers too, and that's an even bigger market that's coming in a few years. So my point is, to me, Tesla, by holding Tesla equity, you hold ownership in this basket of incredibly powerful technologies that are not only incredibly powerful today, but improving rapidly. Self-driving getting way better. I think the value of the ownership of self-driving technology is going to be huge. The ability to stabilize the grid and build and deploy the cheapest, fastest deployment of massive batteries to help solar panels get ROI and stabilize the grid is going to be an insanely good technology to own in the future. The ability to produce batteries in-house and own that entire supply chain when you have cathode production in-house, you're also building the 4680 cell, extremely valuable resource, just in terms of the scope of global geopolitics, ability to innovate. It's crazy when you think about all that Tesla has and how that culminates in, Elon is the leader of the company, leading all these projects, having what it takes to, radically change the engineering of FSD, because it's going to take these insanely crazy moves to innovate on it and get it to work. And I think he's one of the only leaders in the world to get it done. And then he's coming out with these projects of saying our computer is the best at inference in the market. Let's use that to create a humanoid robot and use our mass manufacturing capability to make it actually cheap that anyone can buy it. So if you start believing that the Optimus robot is even real, Tesla stock could double immediately. So I don't know. My point is, at this point in time, you see Tesla on the road and you see a lot of Model Ys, and that's great. And you see a lot of Model 3s, and it's emerged as the world's best-selling car, but it's still only 1 or 2% of miles driven, maybe less. Soon I think it's going to be 10, 20, 50% of miles driven with the Cybercab, or a huge material percentage, a 10 to 100x increase very shortly. That's going to be a massive monetization opportunity. So you're just going to be seeing Tesla a lot more. The Cybertruck's very noticeable. The Cybercab's going to look super noticeable. It's going to be in every city, everywhere. Tesla's change from a consumer and living on Earth perspective is just getting started. So, and the technologies they're developing now are going to create changes that will dwarf those that are coming in the next couple of years. So Tesla is just like this slow kind of art piece that's unfolding, where decades after these incredible technological breakthroughs happen, products are brought to market. Cybervessel. So that's why, to me, Tesla is very unlike any other business, because I think they're positioning in the automotive business with millions of vehicles, with owning the supercharger infrastructure, with building their own chip program for years with Bannon, who's one of their chip guys, who's insanely dope. Well, guess what? Nobody can compete with that. It's not even like Tesla's competition. Its competition is like, will FSD even work? There's a chance it just might not work, or regulators don't want to adopt it, but it's not like somebody else is going to come out with this first, at least for a very long time. That's my opinion. So it's a massive moat. And I don't know, we remember that just a few years ago, Tesla was resource starved. They were, straggling to get cash, barely profitable. Now they've achieved profitability, still a little bummed they sold their Bitcoin, because I thought that was a cool move to have in the treasury. But the point is, they have a massive cash reserve. They're in no position to get stressed or delete projects as things go bad. They can survive any global economy for a couple years. Tesla's in incredible shape, and that's only been recent. And so, you know, I would imagine if the organization stays the same, their innovations should flourish now that, you know, they have more resources and people take them seriously. So I think the next decade ahead for Tesla is going to be insane. And the fact that we have Elon, we're partnering with him, just feels dope as shareholders in such a feel-good moment that I'm so hyped to be a part of. So that's just dope. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps up my Tesla scheme. So, you know, you're buying equity in this basket of technologies that seem, you know, 800 billion's a lot, but when you think about the basket of these technologies and the value they're going to create for society, I think it's trillions of value. And that's why I think it's a multi-trillion-dollar basket that I just want to hold. I don't know what's going to happen in the world with the US dollar. You know, there's so many risks that can happen with any stock, with anything in the world, with real estate, with anything. It's really hard to preserve value in this world, you know, of like, I made all this money, you know, I'm working a job and I try and save my money and now I want to invest it and preserve my wealth. What do you put in it? It's tough to know. But to me, Tesla, it's like, maybe it's not going to grow as much as it originally did because it's up like 50x from when I first started buying it, but I still think it's going to compound at a really good rate of return over the next 10 years. And that's why it's still my biggest position. I'm as bullish as ever. I'm so hyped that Elon stayed on. And it's like, okay, like these technologies of the efficient battery and being able to build them in factories all over the world, like, to me, we haven't even monetized that, because the whole asset of the battery and electric car, we're not even going to fully monetize until the robotaxi network. So that's going to fully monetize that. Then we haven't even put out the trucks on the road. We got to sell all these massive semi trucks and cyber trucks. Then you got to monetize those with software and like a self, you know, Tesla freight network. That's like a business robotaxi, a robotaxi business. Like B2B robotaxi, shipping, logistics, another multi-trillion-dollar market, moving stuff, not people. So, and the Tesla's already been working on the technology for decades to do that, and they haven't even monetized it yet. So that's insane to me. Okay, I think I gotta jump in the lake. Holy fuck, it's hot. I want to keep scheming, but I gotta jump in the lake. Hold on, let me see if I can keep scheming. Ooh, okay. Jumped in. Wow, feeling so much better after that. Okay. You know, I feel like Tesla's earning at like 5 or 10 billion in earnings now while spending massively, or that's kind of their cash flow earnings core right now. But I feel like if they tried to make money, maximize pricing, and interest rates came down a little, I think that's really holding them up, then I think they could easily make 20. So what I'm saying is Tesla's the automotive business is cyclical, and its earnings are going to kind of go in waves over economic cycles with interest rates and such. So you got to look at that and just kind of take the middle. And right now when we're low, we were in a high. So, whoops, I don't know if you saw it. So this is the cycles of the automotive business, you know, recession, high interest rates, and then the earnings go down. Then you have a huge, you know, maximizing production, everyone's sold out, we're upping prices, bam, you have a high in earnings. You want to take the middle of that to get the intrinsic earnings power of the automotive business. I would say 10 billion low end, 5 or 10 billion low end, 25 billion high end, but that's growing. That band is growing because as the business grows and software comes on. So to me, 800 billion is like a 30 to 40 times ratio on this normalized earnings that Tesla's just auto business can do. And I feel like that's without robotaxi. So to me, that's very fair. Now we'll see on the income statement what happens with Megapack, but it looks like that's going to come online as a massive earnings growth driver, essentially. And all of a sudden you start got to value that as a 50 or 100 billion dollar business on top of that if we start selling the robot. So you basically, a little all over the place, but we're putting together the pieces here. So Tesla's like 3 pillars of technology, you know, the battery and drivetrain to make the car go, as the battery and drivetrain to make that are super efficient, that can make the car go a long distance with low energy, that work really reliable. That's a huge pillar of technology that backbones everything. Then you have the self-driving software pillar of value and technology with Tesla as a Pokemon that allows you to maximize value from that first pillar, which is, you know, the battery electric car. Once it can drive itself, you get 10 times the value from it. That's its other superpower it's about to layer on and kind of evolve up. Then you also got you know, the supercharging and service business. So all of a sudden it's like you're charging up this car. That's a whole nother business that's like attaching to the car business that you also hedge, because Rivian and other automakers are using it too. So you have all these components that are coming together where I want to pay 40 times for that normalized 20 billion in earnings power. At least I think that's super fair. So, and I think the self-driving thing is just going to keep getting better and better. And as it does, that earnings power is going to go up. So almost on that alone, I want Tesla. Then I think the Optimus bot, first of all, combines the little batteries, the AI computers with the self-driving. It's funny because you have the battery electric vehicles and the self-driving chips to make the battery electric vehicles more valuable. And then by developing those self-driving chips, now you can make an even more valuable robot, which is a humanoid, which is even like the third evolution of Tesla as a Pokemon of all their skills getting better. Software and hardware and manufacturing. So you have the software, AI, self-driving, hardware, the battery and drivetrain, and then the manufacturing, which is the ability to build these at scale at a very cheap cost in an energy efficient, environmentally, minimally impacting way to the environment. That's an insane trifecta of technologies that to me could touch every industry. And so that's just getting started. And to me, that I didn't even talk about energy. That's the whole other thing, is I think a problem that's equal as big as this kind of building robots to move around in efficient ways and help humans out, whether that's a humanoid, a car, a truck, or boat, or whatever, is one thing. But actually building different kind of robots that stabilize the grid, like a massive solar city, or the Megapack alone could be hundreds of billions in revenue, maybe. Just these massive batteries that allow, you know, if the sun doesn't shine for a while or the windmills don't work, they can stabilize all of that and be a key puzzle piece to letting the true renewable green revolution fly, is the Megapack. And now we're finally seeing hit that stride. They have 2 factories that are in the mode of ramping. Cali, China, matter of time before those are expanded and new ones are established. And I think that business alone could already be doing $1 billion or $2 billion in gross profit a year, maybe soon to be 4 to 5. You slap a 20 multiple on that, we're already looking at 50, soon to be 100 billion just from energy. So I think my whole thing of like, oh, 800 billion versus 20 times normalized earnings, 40 XPE looks a little high, there's a lot of growth, plus robotaxi, it's like, yeah, but I'm not factoring the energy business, which is another 100 billion on top of that and growing. And so layering these on, and you don't want to get too deep in the weeds. You want to be like, look at this organization with insane engineers led by Elon, constantly scheming, incentivized to make moves, like with a huge vision that they're ambitiously going after, with a ton of room, and I would argue low-hanging fruit to maximize the value of the technologies they've been working on for years. An all-American company that makes me proud to be American, because they're just building the dopest technology in the most sustainable way, looking badass, building a safer future. Like, what's not to love? They're so America Futurama. It's so Americana Futura is Tesla. It's Americana Futura. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the Pokemon it is. And it's about to have its final evolution. Maybe not final, but a big evolution. And all I'm saying is I'm trying to be a shareholder for that Tesla Americana Futura vision to really unfold. So I think that's it for my scheme for the day. Lake Latawana. I gotta jump in the lake again. But I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you want the next topics to cover on. And yeah, see y'all next time. Enjoy the summer. Peace.